Hello everyone. My name is Ian Jim, and welcome to IJP Graphics, where anyone can learn many ways to do graphic designing. Today's tutorial is all about fixing a blur passport using Photoshop. There are many ways to fix a blur image, but this image right here has too much blur on the headers that the text itself is not even clear. So we will be fixing it by doing masking technique. We will merge a similar clear copy of a passport to the blur image. The first thing we need to do is to make a template. We need to remove the names of the clear image and leave behind the headers. To do this, you need to select the clone stamp tool and press Alt and click to a near clear area to sample. Then brush the names to cover it. You have to understand that the purpose of a clone stamp tool is copying the areas from which you make the sample. The moment you start brushing, a cross indicator will appear in the area which you took a sample, and it will follow the brush stroke you are doing. It means you are basically copying the areas and transferring it into the area where you are brushing. That is why if you selected a small area and continue brushing a wide detail of name, it will ruin the image. To avoid this to happen, repeat taking samples time to time in a clear area after brushing small areas so that when you brush other areas it will come back to a starting point instead of copying the whole area from where you sampled. If you made a mistake by sampling wrong areas or ruin the image from brushing, you can still undo the action by pressing Ctrl or Command+C. If you press many times, it will also go back to the last previous actions you had done. After finishing the templates, come back to the main blur image. Press Ctrl+Alt+I to open the image settings. Then change the value of the size of image. Make sure that the resolution is at 300. Then click OK. Next step is we need to increase the contrast of the text so that it will be much more visible. Select brightness and contrast, then drag the slider of contrast to increase it while decreasing the brightness. After, select the mask layer icon, then press Ctrl or Command+I to invert the mask. Then select the brush tool. Make sure the foreground color is white. You can press X to shuffle your foreground color. After, start brushing the areas of the text to reveal the contrast we applied. Always remember that in a mask, white reveals, while black hides. When you inverted the layer mask of the contrast turns dark. It basically covers the changes you have made in the contrast. But when you brush the areas with a white foreground color, you're actually revealing the changes you had made only in the areas you had brushed. But to make this happen, make sure that the layer mask icon is selected before brushing. Then press Ctrl+Shift+Alt+E to make a merge layer. After finishing, go back to the template file, then click and drag the image to the main blur image file. Then place it to the and press Ctrl or Command+T to transform the image. Drag the end point to expand the whole image and make it fit to the work area. After, drag the template layer down below the main blur image layer. Then click the main blur image layer and decrease the opacity to at least 50%. Then press Ctrl or Command+T to transform the image and press Ctrl while dragging the endpoints to a position where the details of image align. You can right-click and select Warp to make a more advanced adjustment of the position of the image details. At the top of the screen, you can see the grid settings. Change the value to 5 by 5. You can use this as a custom point where you can click areas of the image you want to drag and position it in a different area. After finish aligning the image to the template, click the check icon to set OK. Then increase the layer's opacity to 100. After press Add Layer Mask and click the brush tool. Select a round soft brush with 0 hardness. Make sure that the foreground color is black. We are going to hide areas of the main blur image and reveal the template. Start brushing all areas besides the subject image. Then you can shuffle the foreground color by pressing X, so you can easily hide or reveal when brushing. You can change the brush size by pressing Alt, then click left button of your mouse while dragging it to the left to increase and right to decrease. After, click the image layer icon so we can hide some areas by using Clone Stamp tool. Same procedure, press Alt and click specific area to make a selection. Make sure you are taking sample close to the area you want to change so that it will still look the same. After hiding the text using Clone Stamp tools, click the layer mask icon, then select Brush tool. Make sure the foreground color is black. Then start brushing the areas you have hid to reveal the background text. The purpose of hiding the text using Clone Stamp tool, even we are still going to brush it away and hide it, is because we are avoiding portion of those text to appear after. After finishing, we are now going to start revealing details from the main blur image. Don't forget the X button so that you can easily reveal or hide when brushing. It's basically a shortcut to change the foreground color. As you can see here, revealing the main text details takes time, so you have to be patient when brushing. Take time to master the shortcut so it will help you work much faster. You can resize your brush when needed and shuffle your foreground color to reveal or hide some areas you don't need or need. Another tip to a much more faster brushing is by after you click or brush to a specific area, press Shift and click to other areas. It will basically create a straight brush stroke, making a perfect line. To make it more perfect, try to hide those areas that it is not needed. After finish revealing the main details, we need to add curve adjustment. Drag the curve point down to darken the highlights of the image so it will match to the background. But make sure that you press the clipping mask icon so that the changes will only appear in the main blur image layer. Next step is to brighten the template itself so that it will match to the main blur image layer. Add curve adjustment above the template layer, then drag the curve point up to brighten. After settling the brightness, click the top layer and press Ctrl plus Shift plus Alt plus E to make a merge layer. Then select Brightness and Contrast Adjustment. Increase the contrast and decrease the brightness to make the appearance more settled. After add curve adjustment, then drag the curve point down to darken a bit the image. After click the layer mask icon, then press Ctrl or Command plus I to invert and hide the changes. After select brush tool and change foreground to white to reveal changes in certain areas. Brush the subject background area to darken. Then press Ctrl plus Shift plus Alt plus E to make a merge layer. We need to enhance the coloration of the subject using curve adjustment. Go to the selection settings and click blue. We need to remove the blueness of the subject. Drag the curve point down to decrease the blueness. Then go back to the selection settings and select red. Drag the curve point up to increase the redness on the subject. Again, go back to the selection settings and select green. Drag the point up and down to see whether it gives more realistic appearance of the subject. When it is settled, click the layer mask icon of curve adjustment and press Ctrl or Command plus I to invert the mask. Same, earlier we just hide the changes we made. Because we only want the changes to appear on the subject, we need to select the brush tool. Make sure that the foreground color is white so we can reveal the changes. After, brush the subject area. As you can see, the subject becomes warmer looking and the color is balanced. If you see that the coloration needs more changes, you can come back to the curve adjustment and make some changes. After, we need add vibrance to overall image by adding vibrance adjustment. Drag the sliders to increase the vibrance and saturation. The final adjustment will be darkening a bit the background image. Add brightness and contrast adjustment, then increase contrast and decrease brightness. After, click the layer mask icon and select brush tool. Make sure that the foreground color is black. Brush the face of the left subject to retain the previous brightness. After, decrease the brush opacity and brush the other subject image to brighten it a bit. After finalizing the overall adjustment, press Ctrl plus Shift plus Alt plus E to make a merge layer. This is the final result of our image. From a blur and unclear text details of passport to a clear canvas. If you want to learn more, please comment down below which project you want me to do next. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell icon. Please support the channel. God bless you all.